Glad you're here, Brooklyn. Well, it's noon. Um, if people join, we can let them in as they show up, or we can just send off a recording. Um, all right. Well, let's get started. Um, LifeNet. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to give an overview of what LifeNet is, and then I'll start there. So LifeNet is a series of directories, and it's a growing series of directories. And the idea is to let pro-life organizations create backlinks to other friendly pro-life organizations. Um, so, for example, a backlink. Most people don't know what a backlink is. A backlink is simply a link from someone else's website to your website. So for example, we've got a directory called directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com. And this is a directory that has links to several other organizations like H3 Helpline, an Even Place for Post-Abortion Healing, NorthstarWC.org. So this is a directory that has links going to these other websites. And if we were to look at, let's say we look at Northstar, and Northstar is a relatively new domain. And so if we look at Northstar, here we go. We're going to look to see how many backlinks Northstar has. So Northstar has 12, according to this tool at least, it's counting 12 domain names that have a web page or a link going to northstarwc.org. And you can see how here we are in November of 2024, there were only 2 backlinks, and then today there's 12. And maybe there's more. This is just one tool's ability to grab and understand who's linking to who. And if we look to see who is getting, who's linking to Northstar WC, we can see an evenplace.com, and that's because of these directory sites. PregnancyCenters.net, that's actually one of our directory sites as well. I'm not sure about the Australian site or SEO backlinks. AllianceForLifeMissouri.com, that's a directory site with LifeNet. We've also got Pro-Life Ribbon, another directory site with LifeNet. IRP.com, another directory site. So essentially, we can see that about half of these are coming from these directory sites. Now, the reason why this concept, I think, works is because the value of getting a link from directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com is there because of the value. Essentially, in order to create directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com, we have to get a permission or approval from the person who owns or manages allianceforlifemissouri.com. And so directory inherits that value, which means there's a gatekeeper, meaning someone can't just go create a backlink on directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com without getting permission and approval from the person who owns and manages the parent domain. And so that's part of why this idea works, is because we have to get permission or approval from a parent domain in order for that child or subdomain to then have a link to your website. And that may have came off a little bit confusing, but essentially, as a group, we're able to leverage our current websites to to create backlinks to other websites, while those other websites are also creating backlinks to our websites. And so effectively, this is a way of giving popularity vote points or promoting through backlinks other organizations, helping raise the number of backlinks they have while also raising the number of backlinks your organization has. And we're also able to get these backlinks from non-pregnancy clinic sites, such as we have two of them in here. We have one called, it's a Christian-owned embroidery company called Caps and More. And so we set up PHO, as in Pregnancy Help Organization, directory.capsandmore.com. And so that company is sponsoring this idea by letting us create a directory that will link to pregnancy clinics and pro-life orgs. We also have, there's a farmer's market in Nebraska that wanted to, Tony wanted to get involved and help. And I said, well, let us create a directory site based on your domain, and it will give all of the cooperating pregnancy clinics and pro-life groups a backlink, which will help them show up better on Google. And then we have several in here that are pregnancy clinics. That's the most common one. And we've also got like 6 or 7 directory sites where I'm waiting for them to create a DNS entry, and we'll have even more on this list. This list is growing pretty quickly. So I know that it probably is confusing. So Brooklyn or Kathleen, what seems to be unclear about this idea, or where could I spend some time maybe providing some clarity?
I think my question would just be, what is the benefit for me, for our organization? And, how does it tie us to other organizations?
Okay, yeah. So benefit, and then the tie. Okay, so the benefit would be that your website will gain SEO points, or the ability to compete better organically on Google. It also may impact your pay-per-click ad spend with a higher quality domain, because Google likes to, send, you might get a better buy rate, and you may get more traffic on your grant account with Google if you have a higher scoring domain. And that's somewhat theoretical, but you will definitely be getting a better score for competing organically on Google for phrases. That part I can see direct correlation. When it comes to being connected, so when someone signs up, we're asking them to agree that Jesus is God come in the flesh, and asking them to define their view on abortion, so that we're limiting those who participate to those who would view abortion as evil and who see Jesus as God. And so that's essentially, I would say that would be, but it's not like an affiliation like with Heartbeat or CareNet. We don't have like a commitment of care, but we are asking people to, we want this to be a Christian/Catholic project, and also a pro-life project. And so we're trying to leave out those who might consider themselves neutral or opposite.
Jacob, there was a question by Brooklyn too. Is this a national directory or local?
So this is a national directory. The goal of these directory sites is not for them to show up on top of the Google search result. They're more likely to show up on page 9 on, number 84 on a search result, or not at all. Really, the goal of this directory is not for it to be seen by the general public. It's to let pro-life orgs support others while supporting themselves through networking. And so really it's a matter of amplifying your current website and content by getting more backlinks from more domain names. So like just like with this North Star example, they went from having 2 domain names linking to them to now they probably have closer to like 25. But this tool is only seeing the 12. But in reality, there's a lot more than 12 just based on this one tool alone. And we're currently working on getting some more heavy hitters on, like, for example, Heritage House, Priest for Life. We're working on getting some better scoring domains to be included in this setup.
Another question, Jacob, that they had. There are no negative or risk to adding the center's names, are there?
So when someone does a Google search for a center's name, there's a lot of directory sites that will show up in that search result. There's going to be directory sites on Yelp, Facebook, Students for Life, the Help for Her directory. There's a lot of directory sites that will show up, but based on your website scoring, your website should show up number one. And then there's going to be just a long list of other sites that will have, yellow pages, white pages, all of these other sites. And so I would say, you don't want a directory site to show up above your website. Your website should be you should own your brand and your name. You should also own your address. So when someone Googles your address, when someone Googles your name, your website should be showing up. And if it's not, there's work to be done. And it may just be a matter of your website needs to be worked on, because it's a pretty easy win or easy success or easy, it's easy to win on that competition to compete on your own name and address. But that's really, really important. The number one search for any organization is their brand. And that includes even like our competition, like Planned Parenthood. The number one phrase that people search on when going to our opposition's website is their brand. And it's really true for almost every website. Is the brand that people know that org by is the most common and most powerful way to get found. There's a lot of category words, a lot of search words, but your brand is what, it's going to be one of your most common phrases that, connects someone searching for you with your website and your content.
Stacy had a question. We have a client website and a donor website. Is there any risk that a client will be sent to the donor website if we include both?
Yeah, so essentially, like, for example, we've got these sites down here. Actually, I could go to yours, I guess, too. But so here's a donor-facing website, which is loading up. And then we also have a client-facing. So Pearson Place is the client-facing brand. And then HI for Hawaii, PP for PearsonPlace.team is their donor-facing website. So essentially, having a directory on both is beneficial because everyone participating will get a backlink from the parent domain, hip.team, as well as from PearsonPlace.org. But the organization that's getting listed or getting, being included is the client-facing website. We're not sending. There's not a backlink going to the donor-facing websites in this project. We're essentially sending traffic. We're giving more backlinks to the client-facing website, and so by including both, you're effectively just helping other people on the same mission of stopping abortion and, pro-life friends across the country, helping them score better with Google. Meanwhile, they're helping you score better with Google when it comes to the number of websites that are linking to your client-facing website, so it competes better on phrases. If we were to look at, the competition for certain phrases, like, let's just take the main competitor. So Planned Parenthood's website, I think it had, last time I looked, it's been a while, but it had like 1.1 million domains backlinking to it. So if we're competing locally, we're competing on a variety of phrases, but just know that, here we go. there's a, we're essentially trying to make up ground, and also we have a long ways to go. So the number, this is okay. So 1.3 million. So but not to say that that's 1.3 million good websites. That's, I mean, 90% of that is complete trash. But if you get a backlink from a church, if you get a backlink from another pregnancy clinic, support site, client site, if you get a backlink from a pro-life organization, a farmer's market in Nebraska, an embroidery company in Tucson, Arizona, these are quality backlinks, meaning these organizations are not spammy. They have a spam rating of probably 0. And the spam rating is really important because you can buy backlinks from spammy websites, but getting a quality backlink requires permission, requires asking someone who normally doesn't link to just anybody. And so it's important to have good quality backlinks because it helps you compete better with Planned Parenthood, helps you compete better with the competition that's not friendly. All right, let's see. What other questions might someone have, or if I didn't explain something well, just let me know, and I'll be glad to revisit it. I can explain it 10 other ways, perhaps.
I think, Jacob, maybe if you could kind of give an overview of how this is seen, because I think maybe there's a confusion on that this isn't really a site that you go to. It's a site that's specifically for backlinks.
Yeah.
So if you could explain that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, good point. So essentially, this, we're setting up these directory sites. So, like, for example, allianceforlifemissouri.com is a normal website. Many people have seen it. And we set up a directory site called directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com. So when Google spiders the web, when it indexes the web, it's seeing that this website, directory.allianceforlifemissouri.com, is linking to these organizations. And we don't have a lot of content on here. We do have the links. We might have some contact info, some basics. But the idea is that Google's going to count this as a backlink to North Star. It's going to count this as a backlink to an evenplace.com, a post-abortion healing group. It's going to count this as a backlink to H3 Helpline, which is a pro-life call center, mostly for post-abortion, but also pre-abortion, or trying to help someone avoid abortion. We also have a backlink to Abortion Pill Talk, which is a new project connected to Pro-Life Ribbon. We have a backlink to Whittier Life Center, a pregnancy clinic in Southern California. We have a backlink to Thrive Express Women's Healthcare out of Missouri and maybe other places now, Missouri. Abortionchoices.com, which is a pregnancy clinic in Illinois. So all that to say is these are links to organizations, and there's a lot of links on here, and it's growing. And these links help these organizations get more credibility with Google when competing against other organizations that have more backlinks. We're trying to close the gap on pregnancy clinics having less backlinks than those who they're competing with. And let's see. So if you ask, so right now we're, if you're hosting your website with irapture.com, we'll set this up at no additional cost. Like, it's just included. If you're not hosting your websites with irapture.com, we'll be glad to, to provide that service. And then we can include this at no additional cost. If you're hosting with someone else and you would like to still be included, we just started this new $5 per month, very basic hosting account, just to try and make it so we don't lose our shirt as this continues to grow pretty rapidly. And if you need us to donate that, just let me know. But the goal is just so that we don't turn this into, something we can't afford to keep up. But yeah, if you're hosting with us, it's, we'll include it forever. If you're not hosting with us and you want to host with us, that helps us cover the costs. And if you're hosting with someone else and you still want to, be a part of it, $5 a month, and we can get this set up, and then we can essentially make sure that we're not, making essentially my goal is to make this long term and not short term, and
You do have to sign up for it, so that we know that we have permission to go ahead and set that up for you. So we do want everybody that's interested to sign up. And if you have other organizations that you work with, that are pro-life and faith-based, please let them know, because it doesn't, it would be very minimal cost to them to be able to support you in that way. So it'd be a great way for other businesses to get involved in supporting you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Ellsworth Crossing is a farmer's market. They are helping, they're helping leverage the SEO points that their parent domain, ellsworthcrossing.com, has to benefit everyone in this project. And then also with CAPS and more. So these are organizations that are, they're not necessarily they're essentially, it's a Christian dough and embroidery company, but they are providing backlinks to the same group of participating pro-life groups or pregnancy clinics. And this is available to pregnancy clinics, post-abortion healing, adoption agencies. Pretty much anyone within that pro-life sphere is someone who we want to see this benefit. Yeah, so like here's Ellsworth. They sell meat. They sell essentially products from 100 different farmers, and their website is an e-commerce website. And this is a way for them to actually benefit pregnancy clinics, is by helping give Google one more vote of confidence towards all of these pregnancy clinics who are participating in this project. And just imagine if we had, 2,000 or 3,000 pregnancy clinics participating in this, and we had 2,000 or 3,000 directory sites, raising people from having just like a handful of backlinks. Like, for example, going back to North Star, because their site's relatively new. There we go. So yeah, taking someone from having 2 backlinks or 40 backlinks or whatever it might be to having hundreds and thousands based on this networking and backlinking project as a pro-life team kind of effort, community driven, supporting each other. All right, who's got a hesitation, or who's got negative or positive thoughts?
Kathleen says she's ready to go. So tell them again how they get to that. I'll get the thing about that too.
So and I'm probably going to drop the donation part on this website, because I'm replacing it with the $5 per month concept for those who aren't an Irish.com client, so that we can essentially it's going to be okay. We might go for a grant. We did apply for one grant and we didn't get it, but in the end, my cost is a server cost and time. That's really what we're dealing with. But the benefit is huge. Getting, we're essentially, this is a concept that will raise all boats at the same time by helping them all link to each other. And there are changes coming with how people use Google and how the people use AI, but Google's not going to fall off. It may eventually fall off in 2 to 3 years, but it hasn't fallen off yet. It's currently still number one on how people find pregnancy clinics. And I do think that this idea probably has 2 to 3 years of viability, maybe longer. It might be longer, but there's a lot of changes coming down the pipe when it comes to how people use Google. There's definitely some shifts that are taking place or coming. But yeah, essentially, if you sign up, the idea is we want to make sure that you believe Jesus is God, that you believe abortion is evil, The goal is to work with friends and not those who are not as interested. And then when it comes to domain names, it needs to be domain names that have a website, that have a scoring, that show up at some level on Google for something. That's going to be the kind of domain name that we want to include in this project. And then effectively well, I don't know if you want to hear how things are actually done in the background, but we're essentially making that directory site. And then we have a system in order to update all the directory sites from one data source of directory data. And that's essentially how we're able to manage such a growing number of directory sites, is by having a parent directory site and several children-based directory sites that inherit all of the listings. And we are making a variation for the post-abortion healing group based on working with an unevenplace.com, so that we will have theirs feature post-abortion healing on their homepage, while the average directory site promotes the pregnancy clinic listings. Okay, so the question coming in of, do we need to ask a business owner or supporter if they will need to pay the $60 a year? Yeah, I think if they're not getting benefit and they're look interested in leveraging their domain name, and I know that I probably should have had this written down and published on the webpage before, but here's my thought process is, one, I want to get high quality domain names to be included in the directory system. And I wouldn't want a $60 per year price tag to keep someone from doing that. So if they have a website that has what I would consider a 40 out of 100 or higher, I would definitely want them to be included. And that price tag is, we could just simply waive it. If they have a website that's got no value, then it wouldn't really make sense for me to waive that. Like if they have a website that's got no traffic, it's not doing well, like it's like a 7 out of 100, I probably would still say yes, because they're not going to get benefit by being involved, but I would be more hesitant. So yes, I would say, but the pregnancy clinics who are getting the benefit, that may end up being where that $60 charge is, if they're using someone else for their hosting. Part of this reason why I'm including it in the for the organizations that are hosting with irps.com is because it's really easy for me to do the setup, meaning we already have access to the domain name, the DNS, the hosting, and all I have to do is do the setup. And it also and we can use the current hosting account to even host the directory site. And so when someone else gets included, we have to create new hosting that's not being compensated with any billings. And so there's a risk of us, essentially we're creating costs without any income to offset. So all that to say is, I'd probably take it by a case-by-case basis. And if someone asked to waive the 60, I would say yes. But at the same time, it's nice to have some income offset new costs. So hopefully that helps. But I would say in the end, if someone asks us to donate it, that's an easy yes to say yes to. But yeah, but also raising some money to help support the server costs and the work and labor going on here would also be helpful. So if someone, didn't ask and they wanted to pay the 60 per year, that would help offset some of these costs that we're creating. So we don't currently have a connection to Live Action Preborn, Ramsey, or Fox, but I would imagine that when we can get this in front of some of those groups, that they will probably say yes. I would imagine 50 to 60% of those will end up saying yes, but we'll need I think that's going to be part of the growth, especially as this continues to grow and get larger. We'll get better players. Brandon with Heritage House said yes like 2 days ago. And I've got like 6 others that said yes, but they're more like medium level websites. And then we recently added Patriot Insurance. I've got several. So whenever someone's hosting somewhere else, it also requires them to create what's called a DNS entry. And many people have trouble doing that when they don't, manage their, they don't really have someone to do that, and it's sometimes awkward or it takes time. So if you host with us, it's really easy because then we can take care of all the steps. But if you're hosting somewhere else, it requires someone else to do something, and sometimes and according, based on what we've experienced, 80% of those people that are interested end up not getting that one step done to participate. Because we've had several people show interest, but then they just didn't create the DNS record. And if you don't do something ever, it seems like it's out of reach. But for people who do it all the time, it's really easy. It's like a 30-second step. But I've had people show interest and they haven't gotten it done in months. So apparently, if you host with us, it just, that really simple step becomes it keeps it really simple. Whereas if you're hosting somewhere else, sometimes it's difficult to get a really simple step done. But yeah, I would love to get like Heartbeat International, CareNet, NIFLA, Live Action, all of these groups, Preborn, to participate. That'd be epic. I did meet with Heartbeat International, but that was pretty early on. Maybe if I go back to them, they'll say yes if I ask again. All right. Any other questions, thoughts? Confusing, things that didn't make sense?
How could or do we encourage others to participate?
Well, we're going to put out a video of this webinar, and so you could just simply direct them to the LifeNET webpage, which will have this webinar along with the webinar we did with an Even Place. So we currently have the Even Place webinar we did, which was actually something that they hosted, and then we simply put up a recording of that webinar. And then this webinar will also be listed right here, probably like in 3 days. And so you could just send someone to this page. They were welcome to watch a video, read about it, fill out the form, reach out to me with questions. I'm willing to meet with someone if they want to have a one-on-one conversation. Like there was someone who couldn't attend this webinar, and I said we could send you a link to it, but she preferred to meet with me. So we're meeting in a few days. I'll probably just repeat everything I said here, but maybe like in 10 minutes, or yeah. But anyways, in the end, our goal is to be accessible, and this is a way for us to help pregnancy clinics do better on Google, which is a way to reach more abortion vulnerable clients, which is a way to serve God by rescuing people on the way to the slaughterhouse. And so ultimately, this aligns with the mission because it helps. This is like a supportive project to help people get more traffic when trying to compete with abortion clinics, abortion pill distribution sites, opposition online.
And then Stacy asked if she'd mind if we send out an email to them that they could forward to others. And we can do that. We can put together like an email that I'll attach to our follow-up email that has the recording of this, and then you could just forward that to others. So I'll make a template type email. By fall, we should be having like a mini commercials on these type of things. So we're going to take each of our services and kind of highlight them and create kind of a walkthrough of what they are and what they entail. So when that happens, then we'll be able to have that for you guys to send out to others as well, and that'll be great.
Yeah, I think what we're coming to realize is the genre for pro-life ribbon. The genre of the projects we're building are community-driven and collaborative. So if you have an idea that would help all pregnancy clinics at the same time, that's the kind of project we want to take on. So like Abortion Pill Talk, it's going to be a way of advertising together. LifeNet, it's a way to link to each other so you show up better on Google with SEO. The Pro-Life Team podcast is a way of giving pro-life leaders the ability to share their story and the ability for pregnancy clinic directors to listen to a wide range of speakers in the pro-life scene to get encouragement, new ideas, and to see where God's fingerprints were, and also to amplify and record God's fingerprints in these stories. open source content in order to, essentially giving support to all these social media managers who need more content, to making their lives a little bit easier. And then the grants is a way of making it more affordable and accessible. But all that to say is these ideas on this website are geared at, helping all pregnancy clinics, or as many pregnancy clinics that get involved at once at the same time, and helping pregnancy clinics help each other, helping leaders share their stories to help other leaders. Like that genre. So if you have an idea that aligns with those, we would love to champion it and come alongside or take it on or whatever we need to do to support pregnancy clinics in general across the board. And we do have in that $5 price tag came in just last night, because I've been brainstorming for about a week on like, how do I make this, pay for itself a little bit, and trying to keep it affordable, but also making it so it doesn't like cause an issue financially. So all of the current participants are grandfathered in to paying $0 per month. And some of these people that are participating currently, or that have reached out already, or people that reach out in the future and ask for a donation, will also get $0 per month. And we have most of the people that are currently participating are people that host with us through irf.com. And we just have a few that are hosting elsewhere. Our current clients just, they get on board quicker. But we have a couple on there on the list that are hosting elsewhere. But in the end, it's not a matter of making profit. It's a matter of covering costs and growing the mission, and growing the project in order to reach the mission. And we can make a short summary. That would be good, Sandy. We can make a short one. This one might be overwhelming or just too many minutes long to share in its entirety. Yeah. And that recyclable email to go out to supporters and to promote. We should focus on the sizzle, not the steak, I guess, in that short version. All right. Well, in the effort of not making this version not too long as well, are there any final thoughts, questions, or comments before we wrap things up? All right. Kathleen, would you mind closing this webinar out with praying for our joint mission as several pro-life groups?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you and just pray for your direction, your guidance with this LifeNET project, especially, but just your continued blessing over Jacob and the whole iRapture team, and just pray, Lord, that you would just continue to give him new vision of how he can come alongside with pregnancy help organizations to assist us in areas that I know I am not very knowledgeable in, but rely so heavily upon him to do this stuff in the background to help us get our word out, to get our names, our brands, our mission out to the masses. So Lord, I pray for all those that are on the call and those that will listen in the future, that you continue to lead us, to guide us, that we would stay faithful and obedient to what you've called us to do, as we seek to promote life, encourage life, and speak truth and life into those that are confused or doubting. So Lord, I just pray for all the participants today, but especially Jacob and his team, as they do what they've been called to do, to come alongside us in such a background manner to promote you and to promote life. And we just ask all of your blessings in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kathleen. All right. Well, thank you all for joining, and we'll send a copy of this in case you want to share this with your board or team or another pregnancy clinic or a supporting group, or you can use the short version that Sandy will be preparing. That'll be more friendly towards sending to your support group. I think by making an e-letter version that can let someone ask their supporters to get involved in a non-financial way in order to support the mission and website work, with simply making a directory site. I think that would make a lot of sense. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Yeah.
Next month, I believe Rachel Owens will be on sharing about Hope Sync and what she's doing with that ministry and some new directions they're going in and just some exciting things. So come on back next month and listen to Rachel.